Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Midnight Reviews. I am the right behind you, Trasnell, and I'm joined by.
The back to dwelling Kirklin Patzer.
We got a big, spicy, juicy GV big week right now. You guys, I made a little appearance just in the newscast. I haven't listened to it obviously because I was at the gym, I was doing stuff. But you guys went a full 2 hours, 2 hours plus. I saw over there.
Yes, it was long. There was lots and lots of trailers. It was funny. We finished the last trailer, and then Jessica's like, "Isn't there like DC news to talk about as well?" And I'm like, "Fuck, I hope not." But she was mistaken. She had like some notes from last week's episode. I was
She
like,
just starts
"Geez, we're
going
already going
into
two and a
it.
half hours." So
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I gave you a lot of trailers, but I wasn't sure how many would be like noteworthy because I seen some, hadn't seen some, so I wasn't sure what was noteworthy. Wasn't sure what wasn't noteworthy, so that's why But
Oh, we
I'm
touched
excited to
upon them
listen.
all. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
there's some is just like, what's this? Okay, talk about it for 2 seconds. But yeah, no, we touched upon them all. Lots and
Mhm.
lots of new Netflix stuff going on. So that was fun.
Yeah, they got a busy summer, just like us. And yeah, right now we are doing the Obi-Wan review, but then also in the following days we will be doing the Miss Marvel reviews. Usually we do them, the Marvel shows at midnight, but because they're happening at the same time, we are doing Obi-Wan first because we've started. And not gonna lie, we think the hype is with Obi-Wan right now. I want to know what's going on there. Jurassic World Dominion's out this week. The Xbox Summer or the Xbox Showcase is Sunday. The Xbox not take stop saying Xbox, Travis. The Summer Games Fest kickoff is this Thursday. I'm gonna be reviewing The Boys. We're gonna be reviewing the Black Adam trailer tomorrow, which also I might throw in. I think the Wednesday trailer is supposed to come in for the new Adams Family. The Wednesday, it's just called Wednesday, I guess. Just a weird title to say, just like Wednesday's out. But yeah, lots of good stuff. Just make sure you go down links below. Go down to GeekVerse.ca. You can find our social media. You can find where to support us. You can find everything from our Patreon to our Manscaped code. We get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Yeah, if you like what we do, head over to Patreon right now. That's the best way to support us because you get ad-free and early and exclusive episodes. And you get some nice tiers. You got After Nine. I'm not sure next After Nine is happening. I got to take a look. But sometime this month will be a call-in show. And a big thank you to our Patreon producers at the very top tier. Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Carl Ritchie, and Smalley Biggs. We were on it. We were on it. But no, thank you, everybody. And we also got the Strikers Cup happening this Saturday. The Geek vs. Retaliation event is happening this week with the team titles at Friday at 5 p.m. PST. So just tons of stuff that we're doing right now, and then even like right after it bleeds into because Obi-Wan's again and da. But it's a good time because we a few years ago start COVID, we were begging for content. We were having to do retrospectives of fucking Darkman, which were fun. It was a good time, but man, it was a tough time. Now we're in this day and age where it's like we're just dripping with content and everything like that. So it's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. It ebbs and flows for sure. But yeah,
Hmm.
lots of fun.
So speaking of bad things, or not a bad thing, Kirk and Patzer, what did you think about this episode of Obi-Wan
Speaking of bad
Kenobi? I
things,
said, or not a bad thing. I leave
I
it
was
on a
gonna say, you
cliffhanger.
given your initial thoughts already of this episode. Yeah, no, episode 4.
Mm.
I think it was just titled like
They're just
part
part one,
4.
part two, part four. Yeah,
Oh, is
yeah,
that what it is? Okay, I
yeah.
wasn't sure what it was. So this one was part 4. I'm like, oh, is that supposed to be like a play on episode 4, like the original? Definitely not. I
Mm.
was just unobservant in those first few episodes.
Even
Um,
though, you know, you want to make
even
that
though
comparison.
this one was the shortest, as
Yep,
you said. I think it was what 36
38
minutes.
minutes.
38 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there was there was some stuff in here that I was really like, oh man, this is showing like some worries I think I had like just initially going into the show. Like I think I had some worries of where it could go, and I think there definitely was some moments in this episode that had that, which kind of had me worried. But there was also some bang and stuff that happened that I was
Mm-hmm.
actually really pumped for. um yeah, like it, there's a lot of spoiler stuff in here, so my spoiler free section will probably be pretty short. But overall, I think Ewan is like still great. I think maybe I'm getting a little bit too much Leia stuff. Like I was really positive on her in those
Whoa.
first few appearances, but now it's like I don't know. I think it's going a little bit past that line from like my comfort zone of like the Leia usage personally. Again, that could all change next episode, but I think there's some stuff in here that I didn't necessarily want nor need. Um, but yeah, all in all, like there's some definitely good banging action sequences that had me really hyped and really excited. I think like because this one was the shortest, it didn't really like feel that way for me. Like it didn't feel like it blew right by. Like I still think it was a healthy length. But still, there's only 2 episodes left, and I I don't know. Like I don't even want to necessarily say like I wish there would be more right now. A lot of that will be dependent on next week's episode for sure. But I don't know. As of right now, I'm more positive than negative on this episode than I thought maybe I would be at certain points in the episode. As cryptic as that is, I'll pass it
I
along to
was
you.
gonna say we're on a windy road. Sometimes I feel like it wasn't a big episode for you, and then other times, I feel
Yeah,
like it
there's
was. So
some big sequences that kind of got me pumped. So
I gotta say, too, your light perfectly matches that side of the picture there. Usually we have the Obi-Wan
it doesn't always line
stars
up.
up and whatnot,
Yeah.
but it looks pretty good. But all in the game, there's not a big spoiler. This is why our stormtroopers a thing. I have no idea when they come in with canon because we've always joked about that, right? With episode 3, where it's like it's the prequels, and then Anakin gets cuts in half, and he wakes up, and everything's like flipped over to the New Hope skin, right? So I honestly
Amnesia
think,
or something.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe there is because Star Wars broken can before. If there's a time where hey, stormtroopers started, and then this says otherwise, like they shouldn't be around this area. To me, I just took it as the second Palpatine got the flip. Like it's cheesy, but he just like redid everything. It's like the troopers are gonna wear this now, so I can believe that. That's not con for me. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's why it was a tease because yeah, I did not mean to tease that way. But no, I love the episode. I really have no really complaints. I'm more just getting worried because we only got 2 left, and I just want them to stick the landing so bad. Just reminds me of Loki, where we had got Falcon Winter Soldier and WandaVision, which I like to love both of them in varying degrees, but we kind of talked about the back half or some of the finales maybe have some problems. So with Loki, I remember every week, like, oh man, when's it gonna drop? When's it gonna drop? And when I saw 38 episodes or 38 minutes, oh, this is when it's gonna happen, and that didn't happen for me. We've gotten some action before, but I think this will. Okay, clearly, I imagine Vader and Obi-Wan are gonna fight one more time, but to me, I think this is gonna go down as the action episode. This is gonna go down as the video game Force Unleashed episode, where it's not that crazy shit, but there's just like layouts of the set that they were on that remind me a lot of the very first mission Force Unleashed. So that was great. Yeah, Ewan's great. But the biggest thing is they go to a location, and what I really liked is it didn't feel small. It didn't feel like a couple times, even like last week where we had that problem with Vader and Obi-Wan with some of the hills, and like it felt like the volume was being stretched in a way where okay, we kind of finally see some of its negatives. I'm sure that some volume stuff was used in here, but it looks like there were some actual sets, or if they didn't, then they just used it a lot better. So I liked all that. Yeah, the Leia stuff. That's why I'll be interested in spoilers. It didn't bug me at all. I thought she was in here like a good amount, and yeah, there was some really cool stuff. And again, I think this is just a credit to Deborah Chow and her team, where I know majority of these characters, I know where they're gonna go, but she does such a good job of, especially in this episode, ramping up the intensity for a second. Like, oh man, what's gonna happen? Like, well, I know what's gonna happen. He's gonna get out of this, and Leia's gonna get out of this, and they're still gonna have episode 4, 5, and 6, and here we go. But there's times in the episode where I'm like, oh man, what's gonna happen? And it's great. Yeah, Ewan was great. They kind of, in the most non-spoilers way, I feel like the character is getting a bit more to like what people want, not wanted, but some people talk about like what he was in episode 4, where you're seeing some glimmers of hope and stuff like that. So that was great. Yeah, no, I really like this episode. Some really good twists and turns. Yeah, I continue the show, just continues to be an event. It flies by. It didn't feel like the 38 episodes, luckily, too small, but still, I can see why this is 38 episodes, or 38 episodes, Kenobi 2. They're like, we're really happy with the show. But I can see why it was 38 minutes after. Like I said, when I first got to it, I was like, oh man, I don't want these type of episodes, because especially that first episode of Obi-Wan was like 55, 56 minutes, but it makes sense because this was primarily an action, heisty type of episode. I will say there's some things that were very hand wavy or convenient with like the certain heists were going on, specifically the Tala character, where I actually don't mind the character. I have no problem getting her. It was just some of the ways that she got in and out of situations where I was like, man, this is kind of super easy, but we're just rolling with it, so that's fine. But yeah, I'm looking really forward to next week, and yeah, I can't wait. Kenobi just keeps delivering. Sorry, there comes the yawn, but keeps delivering. So, anything else to say, non-spoilers?
No, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take our first ad break, and then when we come back, we're into what. So beware. And we're back. I should also say too, because people probably wouldn't. Where's Taylor? If you don't know, he's out of town. He's at a wedding. He's gonna be back for Jurassic World, but I'm sure because the wedding's actually happening today. Because I don't know why fucking people are having wedding on a Tuesday. It makes no
Hmm.
sense to me. So I know he's has to party the night away and get Kenobi, but I'm sure there's gonna be a very drunk Taylor somewhere watching Kenobi right about now. Like, oh
Oh,
my
absolutely.
god, look at that
I want that
Quizzer base.
multiverse where I hear that review.
Yeah, so I want to hear. So I want to hear from you first because yeah,
Yeah.
you. I feel like you're playing more of the Travis role here. I always feel because I keep watching these Obi-Wan episodes. I keep waiting like to have a hot take because someone has to tell me I'm pretentious or you can't enjoy things anymore, Travis, and yet da 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 da. But like, no, I'm enjoying pretty much everything. Other than that, I think this show always I'd have to compare the two, but I feel like Loki was a bit more tighter. Where this show, every episode always has one little thing, and maybe I'll say this before you go: is the Tala stuff of okay, so she has her we met her last week. She's an Empire spy. I still find it odd that all this shit went down on our planet, and it's like she's like, my credentials still might work. It just feels like the fallout's very minor until they see her, and they're like, oh, by the way, like what happened on your planet? I feel like it'd be a pretty big deal, especially if Obi-Wan was there. But the fact is just kind of nonchalant. She's not really like the only way Riva gets on her map is, or like she gets on Riva's map is like
Hmm.
she tells Riva, I have something to tell you. It's not like we need to find this person right now. Like what the fuck is going on with her? So there was that. How she got in, okay, that's fine. But the moment she was at the computer, one, like, yeah, okay, she's talking to Obi-Wan through the radio, and she's like, yeah, so look what they're hiding down there. And they even have like a joke where one of the other stormtrooper guys like looks over Imperials, but it's just like, wouldn't you still be like, yeah, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is she talking to a mic right now? And then so what happens is this little computer base, there's like it's like a fucking school computer room back in the day. There's like
Oh yeah.
5 computers, I'd say, right? And it's facing this massive water and yet da da da. So there's that. And then behind them is the entrance, and there's some like Empire weird ventilation stuff. So this guy comes to her, and he's like, I need to see your credentials. What are you doing at my computer station? And all this sort of stuff.
What are you doing on my computer?
Yeah. Hey, don't look at tax returns 1988. There's definitely just tax returns in there. But like, he's like, let's go have a meeting. And she's okay. And then behind this like ventilation shafts, which are in the middle of the room. It's like entrance, ventilation, computers. It's in the middle of the room. She like chokes this guy out, just leaves him there, and she's like, okay, situation handled. If she was playing Hitman Agent 47, she'd be the worst because like that anyone could walk in. Now, I didn't even see the people at the other computers walk out, but we're assuming, okay, I guess they walked out, then she took them out. But he's just in the middle. Anyone could walk in this room and be like, hey, what the fuck is Bob doing down here? Like, why is Bob knocked out? Hey, why are you at his computer? That stuff was all very kind of again like hand wavy, just very easy, kind of very lazy. Like I hate saying that. So that's where it's like I think when I rate this show, I don't think I won't be able to give it a 10 out of 10 because there's been a few things each episode that have been kind of a little lazy where just like tightening it up. But again, because the character works so good, there's one thing in particular episode I can't wait to. But I thought Tala's kind of whole situation getting in and out was very very easy. It was very like I said, him and Agent 47, but set on like rookie. Like it was type that
Yeah.
where it's like kind of questionable. So
Yeah, I agree with you a lot there. I think something I noticed too with her in those sequence in particular is like I was kind of surprised that she was actually like confronted like at all like by any
mm,
officers because I feel like I'm just so used to like any spy movie like that where like someone's just in a disguise so they're just invulnerable like like
mm.
nobody's gonna notice them like she could have been on the mic with Obi-Wan and they would have just not cared. I feel like I just would have expected something like that. It is very lazy and cheesy, but I've just seen that done so many times before that I was kind of expecting that. So then when like multiple times she was questioned,
Hey, who the
like
fuck are
just
you? I don't
yeah,
know.
who are you? Like I can't let you through.
Yeah.
You know, and then she just kind of like leaned in on that one first pathetic little officer
She
thing
bitched
that she
that
just
guy out big
oh yeah.
time. Like everyone's talking about, man. You see what she did to Sean? Fuck.
Oh
Like
yeah.
she
He
made
went
Sean call her
home.
sir. Like
Yeah,
oh yeah.
he took a personal day the next day.
Oh
Um,
yeah, 100%.
so yeah, like that happened, and then when she just choked out that dude in like in the first place, I think I don't know I was a little bit surprised in the right way that like oh my god they're actually confronting her, but no, you're completely right. Like she did navigate those situations pretty conveniently, pretty easily. So definitely yeah, minor con there. So yeah,
And I
I
like
guess
her
I'll
enough so far. Like I don't like
yeah.
she doesn't have much care. She's simple as she's like what we got last week. She joined the Empire. She realized it wasn't what she thought it was, and she's trying to help out. That character's the same. Like it's not the most unique character, but I think she's doing well, and I like the actress enough. I've only seen her in Game of Thrones and this, but
Yeah.
yeah, I like her enough. I don't know if she's gonna make it, but I like her enough.
Yeah. I thought that she might perish in this episode.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. With the amount of times that she was getting confronted, it's like, hey, just how many times until Vader finds her, and then she's just
Yeah.
fucked at that point.
And like Reva didn't really believe a single word she said, so it's like, man, this is over. Even though Reva was talking riddles, she's like, either you're lying to me or for me, and it's like, I get what you're saying, but like they're giving this actor some.
I'll take the for you option.
Yeah, just like, but no. Luckily, there was a disturbance in the what was it? There was alarms going off, so that saved her. But
Yeah.
even then, like, it's the weird thing. It saves her, but no one's like watch her. Like she just gets to free roam again, you know. And then she beats up those two stormtroopers very easily. It was weird because there's one point where one trooper she went under his mask and pulled. Like, oh, that's good. But one other one, she just kind of like face smudged his mask, and it's like, dude, you're wearing a mask. This shouldn't hurt you at all. And he's like, oh, like it's just again. Her situations felt like she's playing the game on easy mode, you know.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, just on that note, I watched episode 3 earlier today, and I noticed when like Obi-Wan like takes out those troopers, like with Freck, you know, that whole situation.
Yeah.
He just like the whole execution of it, it just seemed kind of a little eye rolly, a little cheesy there. But
When he hits Freck on the back and Freck's just like, oh, and he like falls down so easy. It's like, man, it could have took another pass at that one. Like that's the only thing I'll say. Even though there's some good action stuff, like between this and some, like I watched this weekend all 3 episodes with the girls, and when that Leia chasing was going on, Emily just shot me the dirtiest look. Like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, yeah, I know. And that's where it's just like, and at the end of the day, because I've seen great action, I'd still rather Deborah Chow. She's delivering on the character and story stuff, so it's like, oh great. If the action's a little lighter, sure, but that's the only thing. Like, if that could just be tight, and even if it's not her, if it's the choreographer who's on the show, because it feels like it's a constant in each episode where the choreography is like a little off. If it's not her and it's that team or that unit, that they should either, I don't want to say get fired because I don't want people to lose their job, but maybe just couple of once over. And again, maybe it's a budgetary thing. Maybe it's you only got so much time in the day and so much money. We can only do this like very quickly. But I don't know, a little better.
they need to be bitched out like that one officer did to, or that one officer received from Tala. That's her name, right?
Tala, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, where was I even going next?
We had anything to tell her? Because I originally opened up to what was some of your concerns and stuff like that. So, oh, look at that. Taylor Phil, a couple of sexy lads casting late night. He's dropping us some knowledge in our chat, so we will share, because I don't know who the fuck Tara Sanoob is, but we do know now. I knew they're like showing off a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know there's going to be some stuff here. I thought, Taylor, if you're in the chat, I thought for sure they're going to fuck everyone over, and that Jedi they talked about, Quinlan was here. I thought for sure they're going to show him, and everyone's going to be super pissed. Like, they set up this Jedi still alive in canon somewhere, and then just he's in this fucking tomb and everything like that. But and no Jakar Sanu too. I was really hoping Jakar Sanu was gonna pop up that bitch, you know, and stuff like that. So
like this Hannibal Lecter basement of just like dead people.
no, you know what I thought about? I'm surprised you didn't jump to fucking Cal or Kurt, sorry, from Dexter. That's what I jumped to. That maybe it's because last night I randomly, I'm like, I'm gonna watch the Dexter finale again. That's a conversation for another day because I still feel so uneasy on it. But I give the pass overall. But they do that again where she goes down there and finds everything. And that's what it reminded me of. Like, Palpatine has his Kurt little, like, they're perfectly preserved and everything. He thought that too. Oh, yeah. Fucking. Let's get Clancy Brown is in Star Wars. He's the devil guy Mandalorian. Fuck. What a waste. Remember? He's the guy that gets his hooves cut or his horns. Like, oh. Yeah.
Clancy Brown.
What a waste. That guy's a fucking talent. And he's just the devil. Yeah. Anyway, what did you think about the tomb? Because we'll go on to what some of your negatives were, because Taylor brought it up there. We did. So yeah, Taylor said there's one Jedi in there, Tara Snoop, and that was the first one they showed. And I knew one of these people were going to, well, I guess technically they're all Force sensitive, right? But the thing is, like, they are preserved, and Taylor's talked about this, and it is in canon, I think, in both the regular canon and Legends, where Palpatine was always looking for Force Sith user people, right? Whatever he was going to do with them. So this all tracks, and I liked it because it was fucking creepy, and it was like, oh yeah, this is the type of Empire shit I like. And just Owen look around, just bodies, like, and that was again like Kurt's corridors, like bodies and bodies of Force user, and you get that shot of the child. I loved all that shit right there.
Yeah, I loved it too. It made it so much more sinister of like what that base was. It's not
Yeah.
just where they keep TIE fighters and like where they might have Imperial meetings or something with Inquisitors. Like it made it so much darker. The fact that they just have these like these old like they're dead, right? They're not
Yeah.
preserved, are they? Yeah,
No,
they're
I think they're dead, but I think they are preserved in a way that their DNA could be used for stuff because they're not like
yeah.
rotting and stuff. So that's where like they're dead, but they're being kept in a good condition. I think, you know.
Yeah, like that's so dark. Just like that, especially it's up on display. Like it's not like they're in like sarcophagus or anything like that. Like it's
Oh yeah.
literally just on display. So
Like
many of them too.
like every day you walk to your job, you see a dead kid randomly just in the wall.
You see the
Right,
guy that you replace the next day. It's like, jeez, okay, I better do my job right.
right. Then when you see that, you're like, man, I chose the wrong side here. Why are we just hanging up kids
Are
to
we the
show
bad
up?
guys?
Yeah, yeah. Tala saw that day one, and she's like, "Fuck, like I should not be here."
Um, oh, I forgot to mention when you were talking about Tala and Reva in that one scene. I wanted to mention now before I forget. Just like the siren or alarm that goes
Mhm.
off, it's so iconic in like those
Oh
Imperial
yeah.
bases. I fucking love that audio cue. So when it was going off, I was getting all jazzed. But yeah, no, the tomb was super freaky. As soon as we saw that one alien looking creature, I'm like, man, of
Terrace the
course,
noob.
of course Taylor's missing it tonight. The one time I need him to answer me, but of course he shows up in the chat, tells us
Mhm.
Terrace the noob. I don't know who the fuck that guy is.
A
You said
surprise,
you
but a welcome one to be sure.
is it like Clone Wars,
I,
Rebels?
Taylor's dropping photos. There's so many people that I forget. Like even last week with Quinlan Voss, like I know who he is. Right, the second I see him, like okay, I know that arc. I know he has like a love interest with Asajj Ventress. He's been in the dark side, but it's like these fucking names. If I haven't seen them in movies for years, it's like I have no fucking idea. So, but I guess he was hanging on that library. Looks like Costa knew because Taylor sent us a photo of him and Obi-Wan. So, and that's probably because the prequel, those Clone Wars shows, they introduce so many different Jedi's that are
Yeah.
have funky names. So, poor
The, the
Terrace Noob, he got hunted down,
the
unfortunately.
entire tomb, like library of bodies, is just librarians.
Yeah, that's
Just
yeah.
this angry librarians that are pissed off.
The Grand Inquisitor had a big problem after Jocasta knew,
Yeah, exactly. Just on that note of you talking about how like Clone Wars introduced a lot of just tons of different Jedi and stuff, and
Mhm.
something I do like and is a positive for me with this show is the mention of just more Jedi and like different, I don't know, circumstances around them, because the one lad at the beginning of this episode is talking about like a relationship that he had. It sounded like with a
Yeah.
Jedi, right?
I think so, or at least
Yeah.
with a Force user. At least
Yeah,
with
at
a
least a
Force
Force
user.
user, and like that alone is really interesting to me, because it's not just like this one Jedi master that's in Coruscant or something that we've seen from the prequels. It's like you're fleshing out the possibility for more Jedi, I guess. Like
Oh, they're
that
fleshing out all right.
fleshing out like, but like also like there could be more hidden Jedi, right? That did
Great.
escape Order 66, and I think the more that they just talk about them in medias like this, it makes it more believable if they want to pull someone like out of randomly, just have a new
Oh
Jedi
yeah.
type characters, and it's just more like world, I don't know, explanation or building or expanse in that regard, and I think it's definitely a plus if going forward we just get more mentions of oh Ice Cube's son. Oh damn,
Was it actually Shea
I thought he
Jackson
looked
Jr.?
familiar. Yeah, there you go.
Oh wow, I didn't even. I knew he was coming up in Obi-Wan, but I guess because I just am used to seeing him in Straight Outta Compton, and they made him look a little bit more like his dad. But I didn't even put two and two together. So, good for
That's
him. I
funny.
wonder how much of a little role he's gonna have and stuff like that. But yeah, I want to hear about some of this Leia stuff because for me,
Yeah.
I didn't have any of those concerns. I thought like she was in there enough. We got a little bit of the interrogation. I loved that Reva could not read her because one, that tracks with New Hope when Vader tried it, and two, it just is like we now know, and because the sequels, I think one of the good things is that Leia did use to learn the Force. So it's one of these things that I like the tracking of it. I like the end result where Reva was smart enough to use the fucking robot to track them and stuff. So I liked all of it. And I thought we got like a good enough. But I do wonder for you, I'm not sure, like after last week, I feel like I've cemented that Leia's going to be in the whole show. Like the second Reva caught her. So is it that, or is it just other stuff about this that you weren't digging?
Well, for this episode particular, I think I just had like maybe one or two too many of those like interrogation scene shots. Like we
Mm.
went back and forth there a couple times, and like initially when I finished the episode, I think I could have gone the whole episode without any of those scenes. Really, like it felt so unnecessary for me. Like we could have just had Obi-Wan saving her at the end, and I think we would have had the same result. But you brought up a good point of the emphasis of Riva wanting or to like tap into her mind and not being
Hmm.
able to, and then like the tie to episode 4 with Vader doing that. So good observation there. I think maybe like the one interrogation scene that could have worked for me, but there was just so many times where we had Reva like interrogating this 10-year-old, and it was just so weird for me because she's like trying to be intimidating, but it's just like this
Yeah.
adorable little 10-year-old, and it's just like this Inquisitor doesn't do anything. Like it's not like he's gonna beat the shit out of Leia or anything. Like it just felt like we weren't doing
Give
anything.
me
It
the
was just
phone
kind of like
book.
wasting
Give me the
some screen
phone
time.
book.
Yeah, yeah.
She was
It's
gonna
just
though at the end of this, right? She was gonna go
I
to that other
know.
level.
Yeah, it shows she was gonna, and then when it goes to like the torture scene, it's just like someone needs to talk to you, and they can't like they can't wait.
It's
We have to talk to you
urgent.
right now. It's like
It's
okay, put your Spectre like James Bond torture equipment away.
yeah. And
That's
what I
exactly
didn't,
what it's.
I don't mind that. Like, okay, it's a little eye rolly. Like, you need to talk. Someone needs to talk to you urgent. Okay, but I feel like when she got up, she should have been like, "This really isn't urgent." Like, and not in the sense of like the fourth wall break. I mean, like, she should have been that to the character of like, "This doesn't fucking matter right now." Like, what? Like, what?
Yeah,
And that I almost wish that was her catch on to be like, "Oh." Because at the end of this episode, you already see that Tala she's gone, right? Her cover's blown, stuff like that. So I wish that the alarms goes off and then she kind of escapes. I think Reva in that moment should have just figured out because she ended that conversation with, "You could be lying to me or could be lying for me." I wish Reva was just like, "No, you're doing this because you're fucking with them, aren't you?" And I would love she would be like,
yeah,
"You're here." So and because it's strange that Reva's kind of been that way. She's kind of been smarter. She's one step ahead. She even do that with the tracker, right? So she's always one step ahead, even with the Leia plan. So I felt like that was almost an out of character moment where I think I've been 50-50 on the performance. I think this episode the most as far as Reva's acting, to be honest. Like, I think she had a little more quieter moments, but I think for the writing, I don't know why she didn't figure it out or why she wasn't more mad that Talia was kind of just like, yeah, I got to tell you something. And it's just like, so these people might be on this planet. Cool. Like, thanks. I got to get back to fucking up this child and everything like that. So,
yeah. I because I really didn't like majority of the interrogation scenes, as I said. Like I'm not even gonna put that on like the performances really for the
mhm.
actors. I think just like the writing and the script there was kind of not driving with me because like the dialogue from Riva to Leia was bad and Leia to Riva was bad in my opinion. Like it was I just really didn't like it. And I think it made me uh like the character of Riva like honestly a little bit less because I don't know like she just was doing some things that was kind of head scratchy. It's just like okay, I'm not convinced that she is like a really smart villain. I
Mm,
guess for lack of a better
that's
term,
fair.
like because yeah, like when she's just like we need to talk to you right now. Like why don't you like no like go away and like be an intimidating like individual there. It's just like okay,
Take a
walks over to the
message for
board.
me.
Yeah, like walks to boardroom 7, probably on the other side of the base. It's just like when you talk to you, and it's like this terrible, in my opinion, like scene of this person trying to lie and like do this fake story. It's like, are you kidding
Yeah.
me? Like, does anybody believe this? She's like, you might be lying for me, and it's like, I didn't like the whole riddle game. It was just really
Yeah.
really weird for me. And then like by the end of it, I think because not last episode but the episode before that with how that ended of her trying to get Obi-Wan and then not working out and then she's just kind of like screaming at the ship like I will find you, I will chase you down forever, and then at the end of this episode it was like pretty much the same result of her just trying to get to Obi-Wan, didn't work out, and she's just like staring at the ship as it flies away,
Mhm.
and she's just like taking all these L's. It's just like I don't know. I'm not really seeing these moments of her being this this imposing threat force personally. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too critical here, but it just this episode didn't do much to push her in the positive direction for me personally. I think like you, I was a little bit 50-50, maybe more liking. So maybe like, I don't know, 70-30, like initially when she was first introduced. And then as the
Hmm.
episodes have gone on, I've kind of swayed over to the 50-50. And again, I think the needle's a little bit more on the negative side after this episode. But I don't know, it could change around. Again, I might be being a little bit too microcritical, but that's just my thoughts on that. Like last notes on Leia, I think this episode I kind of forgot of like, okay, we're getting Leia the whole show. And it's
Yes.
just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Because in the back of my mind, it's just hard for me to headcanon the fact that in like episode 4, she doesn't, like, she's not going to remember this of like being rescued by
Hmm.
Obi-Wan with the blue lightsaber. Like, it's so visual and like symbolic, and like this would be a really big life event, I think. Like, I know she's a princess, like she goes through a lot in her life, but like personally, if I was just kidnapped for like, I don't think this is just a day event either, right? Like
No,
this is
not
a
anymore.
extended thing. So like the more that she's just a part of these like big events, and Obi-Wan's starting to do the Force again and using his lightsaber, I think it's getting to that realm of like the believability of like this kid just wouldn't remember these missions. It's kind of starting to go out the window for me. But I
Well,
don't know.
they
Do you feel similar? Or
Well, I yes and no, because I said that before. That was my defense. It's like, oh, well, she only knows him for a few hours, and now it's like, okay, it's this whole show. So it's like the
yeah,
two things we keep getting in Star Wars Disney Plus is fucking Bat the Tanks, which we'll talk about, and his characters with young companions. Like we got this, we got Mandalorian, and then you didn't watch Bad Batch, but it was the same thing. They got a kid with them, so I hope they kind of stop that. I think where what you have to do is it a little strange? Yes, but at the same time, if you want to be fickle, which like I am fickle lots, you can technically go. She doesn't say anything that she doesn't remember from this time. Yes, the message very formal of like,
you're
help me,
right. Yeah,
Obi Wan, like you fought with my father in the Clone Wars, but my head canon is just, well, she's sending a message through a droid, so she's a princess and she's being very formal, like that's why I can head canon. Again, no, George did not write any of this. This was not the plan. None of this was the plan. But at the same point, like we've talked about, George also didn't plan for Luke and Leia to be brother and sister, so they're definitely playing within the canon. They're not breaking it, but they're definitely playing within it and stuff like that. And I guess like All in the Game has a good term for like reverse engineering these shows, but that's where it, no matter what, if you do a prequel, this guy George made 6 movies and didn't plan on making any more. And as I've said, everything after that is just kind of fan fiction. Like if it's without him, whether
yeah,
that's a good thing or bad thing, because I think there would have been pros to keeping George around. I think there would have been some cons. If you look at some of his ideas about, what was it, 7 to 9, he wanted to jump even more into midichlorians and stuff like that. So I think there's times where you just kind of go, okay, this is, a fan fiction, but also they're trying their best not to break the canon and stuff like that. So
well said.
yeah, let's take another ad break and we'll be right back because we should talk about some Obi-Wan action. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So yeah, I wanted to go there because one, Ewan looking great in this. Like, it looks very much like his Jedi like garb from Attack of the Clones specifically because it's some big shoulder pads, but still looked like that Attack of the Clone, Revenge of the Sith era costume. But it was like very dirty and grizzled and stuff like that. So I like that. He was looking good in the outfit. And again, when we talk about mostly an action episode, this is like Obi-Wan in 2 ways. One, when he got out of that BAFTA tank, which I fucking loved. One I did not love because it's funny. Either it was rumored or a theory, but I thought it was rumored that we were gonna get flashbacks to the Clone Wars, and I thought, man, they're gonna put him in this fucking BAFTA tank, and we're gonna get more flashbacks. Like they're just gonna pull Boba, but they didn't. They did something really cool where they had like this dual thing of Darth Vader and Obi-Wan in the BAFTA tank. They're both thinking about the fight. They're both having different experiences. Anakin looks like he's like going through pain, where Obi-Wan, who definitely lost that fight, if you want to call it a fight, when he got out of that tank, he felt a little rejuvenated, like a little more like old Obi-Wan. It was something where it felt like it just kind of clicked, whether it was a bit of himself came back, whether it's just, okay, whatever it is, I have to buckle down and fucking do this or this girl's going to die. Because when he got that tank, he was looking like his old self. He was talking to them like, we got to do a plan. We got to do this. I very much appreciate the plan did not lead to them dressing up like stormtroopers because I'm just tired of that trope. Talk about a trope I'm tired of seeing, that one, because they do it in all like animation stuff. And then we saw him like practicing the force on the ship, which I really like. But throughout the episode, he's using it to like do a distraction in the door, to push things, and then we get to see him pop up with a lightsaber, which was great because he's throwing like those Ewan Obi-Wan like twisting the lightsaber around like over and under his hand. He's blocking and everything like that. That scene when he captures Leia or finds Leia to uncapture her, I guess I could say, when it's in the dark and he just the blue lightsaber and he's like assassinating
So
people.
good.
All the action stuff with Obi-Wan was great, and it felt like he had a little pep and step where it's like, yeah, I still think Vader in a 1v1 would probably not body him, but take him out. But again, that's going to happen later on the show, and I feel like there'll be other circumstances. But yeah, everything with Obi-Wan, the action, the force, I love how it was built up to he's using it a little bit more, to that point at the end where he had to like stop the water. Yeah, that was a little cheesy, that no water. Like, I wish they maybe made it a little further because I don't think he would have outran that water, and that water doesn't even go past the door at all. It's just like perfect close. Water's fine. But other than that, I thought they were trying to hint or show you like Obi-Wan kind of getting the pep in his step once again.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so funny at the beginning of the episode when they're talking about the back to tank, and it like, because it's like right at the beginning of the episode, I'm like, oh no,
Mm-hmm.
this is it. It's a 36-minute episode. It's gonna just be a whole flashback, and it
Perfect
literally
time
turns
to
to the back to
reminisce.
tank. Like,
Yeah.
like this is just a meme at this point. But luckily, there was no extended back to sequence. He came out of it pretty quick, and no, I liked what you said about like because he really did feel different after coming out of the back to tank. He wasn't in there long.
No.
I like the emphasis that Vala like made on that. Like he really needs to
Tala.
still stay in there. Vala, what?
Tala. You said
Tala.
Vala. Yeah. Tala.
It's
Vala's
late.
her
It's
sister.
late. Tala.
Yeah.
Like I like the emphasis that she put on the fact that like he does need to rest and like gather his strength because he isn't 100%. You know, like he's clearly not at that point yet. But I think he took a major stride from like where he was earlier in the show to where he is now already. So that's fun to see. I like just the little moments of him like trying to like test his force powers
Mm-hmm.
and it just slowly coming back a little bit. I love all that stuff. It's really, really good. And yeah, I was a little bit surprised actually to get more lightsaber just usage, I think, in this episode. I think in my mind, because of the significance of last week's episode and how he only ignited it when like Vader was facing him and like you had like the red and the blue
Mm-hmm.
clashing as we love to see. But I think all the like the lightsaber usage was phenomenal in this episode. It wasn't overly done. It was like used when he needed it. And yeah, you shouted out that scene when like all the lights go out and then he just appears with the oh man,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
think I'll ever get tired of just like a dark room and like a
No.
lightsaber just lighting it. It's beautiful to me. So that was phenomenal. And yeah, really all the action scenes were really good. Like later on when they're escaping and the little rebellion ships come in to save them. That was really fun. We don't have
Very
Taylor here
risky
to
shooting.
specific, very we don't have Taylor here to specify what ship that is, what class
Mhm.
it is, but yeah, no, very risky shooting, and I laughed so hard in this scene too because this the female pilot that saved our
Mhm.
heroes, she got covered by her wingman Wade, and as
Yep.
soon as she said the name Wade, in my mind I'm like, this fucker's dead. Like he's dead in this scene. Like we've never heard of Wade before. We've never met him. The only reason why they would say his name is to give like some last minute attachment to this person that's
What
about to
happened to
die in
Wade?
2 seconds.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Wade. It's like you gotta get out of there. It's like just leave her alone. He's just like literally just hovering, shooting at this Inquisitor. And then he gets
Yeah, I
popped.
got her. Yeah, and that's why my nickname right behind you because I did laugh a little, but I just laughed more because I knew Kirklin and Tara would laugh because it reminded me they've referred to it a few times on the cast, but I feel like just in our personal life, lots of like the Family Guy joke and Dak of like Dak's gonna take on the Empire, and not that this was that, but it just feels like
This
it's in
was
that.
him.
Yeah, it just feels like it's that type of similar thing where it's like I'm right behind you, and then Reva just throws a fucking like bomb at him and takes him out. Like it's like, dude, like couldn't you hit fucking hyperspace or a turbo boost? Like get out of there. But like, I'm right behind you. Boom. And then pour
Just
this.
leave her alone. He's like just hovering, getting some shots. in.
Yeah, we got them. We're good. And you're like, no, I'm going to take her. Just like that guy that wants like that big kill on the team. But yeah, no, I got a little chuckle there. But at least it kind of gave them some stake because I feel like those people might help out now Obi-Wan in the next venture because like, well, you killed one of
Yeah.
our people, and even though they had to go to get Obi-Wan and Leia, but again, they'll be rewarded, I imagine, because Leia's a high commodity and stuff like that. So it was funny, but I did appreciate because I was wondering how they're going to get out of there, but they did set up earlier like, hey, this thing has no shields, and like, why no shields? Like, because everyone's scared to go there, and I like the idea because in the regular times, if this shit was just coming, yeah, it'd probably get shot out of the sky. They'd be more prepared. But alarms are going off. There's leaks of water, and then you got Obi-Wan and the telling the child. So I like that. I could believe that they would actually get through with no gunships shooting them at all or being pointed at like kind of stealthily because shit has hit the fan. Now, did I again in easy mode? Did I believe that Obi-Wan just putting Leia under his jacket to have these little feet walking beside him that no one would notice? I get it that the whole center is a rush and everyone's running around and very confused and not, I wouldn't say scared but worried. But still, there it looked fine from the side. But when they zoom down, it's like you just clearly see there's little feet beside Obi-Wan, and no one's gonna be like, "Hey, what the fuck, dude? Like, why do you have feet under here?" You
He's
know,
got
like
this
maybe,
like duster trench coat and then just like an
yeah,
officer's hat. It's like, oh, you just put on that hat and then you're invisible.
yeah, and it's like maybe you could sell it like, oh, I'm some sort of alien species that has these little legs, but it looked funny in the moment and stuff like that. But yeah, no, they got away, and like we talked about Riva, that they show that. I thought that was very smart. That Lola, that's where she puts the tracker because she was holding
Yeah.
her at one point, and I thought she was just gonna break her. It's like, well, we saw that already this season of like a bad guy breaking a robot. So I hope not. And they cut away. Didn't even think about that, and that saved Riva's fucking life because Vader was about to fucking kill her. Which I don't know if that. I still want that to be a result. I've heard it on a few podcasts, and this is one thing that never until I heard it really struck me that I've seen a few people theorizing that she's going to end up turning good. Really don't want that because I know that she's probably one of those Jedi from the beginning of Order 66, and she has that one where she looks at the Jedi logo or symbols, kind of like, oh, like think of her past. But I just think they've made the character so dislikable in like a good way. I think there's some ways that the character could improve writing and acting, but I mean, like overall, she's just a bad person. I do want her to either leave, or I do want Vader just to fucking or Obi-Wan defeat her, or Vader. But I really don't want her turning good at all to help them out. You know, I don't have any interest in that. Like we just got that with Kylo. We've gotten that such a trope recently, but that Vader scene was great because he was just on the fucking move. That was the fastest I've ever seen Vader actually move. So
Yeah. He's not a sprinter. He's like a Michael Myers type
100%, yeah.
long stride kind of guy. Yeah. That scene was so 10 out of 10 for me. I loved the lighting of it. It was very dark, and I love the aesthetics of again those like boardroom type things that the Empire has. And then yeah, he's just like pushing people out of the way, like you said. He's just gunning it to the room, and then just the force choke that he had on her. It was just such an iconic position to have like
Hmm.
Vader in, and I loved the like the delay in like nothing like he's just holding her there choking, and then there's like a couple seconds of just nothing's really happening, and you just don't know what's gonna happen in those immediate moments, and then she gets one quick breath out, and I love that he's not just like too pissed off to just like not hear what she's
Yeah,
saying. Like he's
just
still
insta
kind of
killer.
yeah, exactly. Like he still is just exuding so much like um just intimidation like in that room. Like everybody in that room is just like kind of intimidated about him, like
Hmm.
by him in that moment. And I love it. I love how he just like slowly lowers her down. So I think like all of the Vader stuff in the show for me has been basically a 10 out of 10. Like I
I
don't think
agree.
it could have been better so far. 2 episodes left. Something could happen. Hopefully not. But I've been very very happy with the Vader stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why we gotta get that show. I'm telling you. But
They
yeah,
gotta green light that. Yeah.
yeah, and which I didn't know this until last week. Someone pointed out because I always said with James Earl Jones doing the voice, I was like, with him being older, I want them to get someone else. So it is his voice, but they're doing the same thing they did with Luke in Boba Fett, where they have like a computer that's homogenizing it and everything like
Mm,
that. Which I know some people might be like, oh, I don't like, but for me, I do because like you're trying to make it sound like that era. And I remember in Rogue One when he would
yeah.
speak, he sounded older, and it just didn't track. And yeah, it's a few scenes here or there, but do you still think we're going to get that Clone Wars flashback that everyone thought like them all DH? Because we only got 2 episodes left. And I feel like it could happen. We know we got a fight with Obi-Wan and Vader. We know we got Leia has to get back. Got to have some resolution with Reva. We have to have something with Qui-Gon. There's still a lot. Now, I don't think there's too much where the 2 episodes can't handle it, but it is getting to the point where unless the flashback is very quick, which could happen, I am starting to get less and less convinced because I feel like we're getting into that like third act big battle, like closing the like. I don't know if there's a flashback placement that's going to work here, but again, I obviously haven't seen the 2 episodes, so maybe it'll happen. Go, oh, this is perfect. Maybe that opens next week, right before they're about to battle again. They're just like reminiscing, right? But do you think that we're going to actually see Hayden have the helmet?
Well, technically we did, right? In
Yeah,
last
I mean more
episode,
like in
he
the
sees him
yeah.
with the
You're
cloak.
right. Yeah, you're right. More in I'll say with some speaking lines. Hayden with some speaking lines.
Yeah. Like, I agree with you. I think as the show is going on, I'm getting less confident that we will get that. But at the same time, it's like they brought Hayden back. Like we gotta have that like on screen, you know. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of what's in the back of my mind on maybe is pushing back on why I think we wouldn't get a flashback scene with those guys.
If you brought him back just for that cloak scene and him to play Vader a few times, because apparently Vader right now I think is being played by like 3 different guys, and there's like times in that fight last week that Hayden did play him. But if you're doing that, it's not worth the money, you know. So, and
No.
I just feel like you have to show him because he is apparently come back for Ahsoka. So I feel like you gotta give that. Like I feel like maybe
Mm-hmm.
he was having fun, but I feel like he'd still be like, "Hey, you don't need me for the show, you know. Like I don't need to do this." But hey, maybe he wants some money. Maybe he just wants to be in Star Wars again. Who knows? But if we just get just Vader, I feel like there might be a little bit of a waste, or I feel like people hype themselves up too much. Maybe even myself a little bit of like, what was I expecting from Hayden seeing him back? You know, so
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like for me that quick appearance of him like in the cloak and just kind of like staring at Obi-Wan from afar, like I get like chills just like thinking about that quick appearance of him. Like
mm-hmm.
it was so powerful. Like even though he wasn't in it much, so I think like I do really want to get a scene with actually Hayden like doing something. But I'm okay if it's not a lot. Like I don't need a full episode of it or anything. Like I think like a really good scene could actually go a long way because yeah, like I said, like that quick appearance, it left an everlasting impression on me. I think
Mm-hmm.
so. But yeah, I think we gotta get it.
I think so. Yeah, I hope so. So I'm looking at my notes. The only thing I have
Yeah,
left is I really liked the mouthpiece Phantom Menace kind of tribute because at one point
yeah,
he was swimming
very
and
similar.
I was like, man, he's in no fucking shape to be swimming this deep and holding his breath. But then I was like, oh, he probably has that mouth breather thing, and he did. But at first I was like, man, they've shown him being complete shit, and he can do these laps now. But I like that good callback of one. Makes sense how he gets there. They open up the bay doors, but just a fun callback to Phantom Menace when him and Qui-Gon go down to see Jar Jar and his people, the Gungans. So I like
Yeah, I
that.
love that. I love that scene, that sequence. It was again like it looked very similar to when he's
Mhm.
going to see the Gungans.
Oh,
Um,
and that's what I was gonna say before I forget, because I said it's non spoilers. Yeah, the Inquisitor's Tower. That's where I feel majority of it. The sets were working, whether it was volume or some built-in sets. It felt like a big building, and it never felt like, oh, they just keep running past the same corner, which has happened a few times in this show. This
mhm.
one, not so much. This one, from that till when they get on the bridge to when they have to get the fighters down, and they get it, escape. It all felt grand and big. So bravo to them because I've had a few complaints this season about that.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. There was a moment kind of early on in the episode when um I guess it's what's his name? O'Shea Jackson, Ice
Mhm.
Cube's son, like that character. I really didn't like maybe I won't say like I really didn't like, but it was kind of funny to me how like quick this guy was like just willing to like help
I ain't
them out.
helping you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I ain't
was
helping
very
you.
much like this is a 38-minute episode. We don't got time to have
Yeah.
conversation.
It was like noticeable that I actually like took note of it because it was just a complete 180. It's just like
Yes.
I had a lover once. It's like okay, we will help you. It's like oh okay.
All it took was
Um,
Obi-Wan to be like, but she's 10, even though he started off like saying she's a kid and she's little and stuff like that. No, I agree 100%. Like, it didn't bug me too much, but enough where it's like, okay, again, another very lazy, easy thing to push
mhm.
us from point A to point B. So,
And then I like shortly after that, there, it's when help me out, Tala.
Tala, yeah.
Yes, keep forgetting her name. Tala is kind of like going over the plan, and then they mention like the Mustafar system, that's Vader's system, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have like just when Obi-Wan is like he mentions Vader, like, oh, is Vader there? And just having like Ewan McGregor like on screen like mentioning Vader, I just got so like
Yeah.
excited and like giddy. It's like I can't believe this is actually happening. You know, like we have Ewan, who's in my like up until now has only been in the prequels, only seen Anakin, not Darth Vader, to like just have Darth Vader in the world
Mhm.
with like Ewan McGregor in the role of Obi-Wan. I was smiling in that moment. It was awesome. I love what the show has given me in that regard. So that was great.
I wish Obi-Wan
Um,
would, because they're talking about the Mistiverse system. I wish Obi-Wan would be like, why the like? I guess they didn't probably show that place, but we were like, why is he building a tower? I cut him up. That's some fucked up stuff, guys. Like, but
he like
yeah, I
mentions
agree with
that
you.
he's like, last time I was there, I kicked his ass.
Hey, yeah, I'll do it again.
Yeah, okay, Ben.
Hey,
Um,
yeah.
let's see what else I have for notes. Oh yeah, I think it was like pretty much at the end of the episode when Vader shows some mercy for Riva.
Mm.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think this has ever been said in Star Wars before, but she said like "Yes, my lord" to Vader, and it just sounded so weird to me. It made me think of like medieval time. Like, I know he's Lord Vader, but it just sounded really weird when she said "my lord."
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely happened at some point where I can't pinpoint it, but
Yeah,
yeah, you gotta call
it's
him
tough.
my lord, and the females, even if they outrank you, sir. You know, even though what if they
Hmm.
don't want to be called sir? You know, like gender orientation's a big thing nowadays. But she wanted to be called sir, so there you go.
Exactly. It's just like, it makes sense on paper. Like if they're named Lord, you would call them my Lord at one point. But in my mind, it's just I've only heard Lord Vader. Like I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever heard my Lord. It just sounds so weird, so un-Star Wars to me. But again, I could be wrong.
Yeah. Anything else?
Nope. I got
No.
everything out.
Oh yeah, no, I think I did too. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, next week Taylor should be back, so we'll get his thoughts on this, and that's the penultimate episode. And Disney Plus been known to have some fire episode 5, so hopefully we get that again. Very excited to see where the show's going again. Fingers crossed that we keep getting these good episodes, and I promise you, in here from us next, not be boring.
Peace.